Wrapping up with the AFC South, 4 more teams here. Houston Texans. They have an over-under of 9.5 for Houston, and Cynthia has them well under at 9. A lot of hers are percentage points off. 9 is her total for Houston, last year's AFC South champions. Back-to-back years finishing in the final 8 for Houston.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Like, the Texans are a strange case where last year felt bad and like a massive underachievement, and it ended up in offense coordinator Bobby Slowick getting fired. It felt rough, but they still made the playoffs. And we're not a million miles away from contending even with that. You have to be concerned about that offensive line. It was a massive problem a year ago. They traded away the best player from that offensive line, so it could easily be a massive problem again. I do think, though, that it should be better even with effectively the same personnel or similar personnel, because I think the problems were more structural than they were individual players. Getting the sum of the individual players being terrible. I think that group could be okay. The receiving core now is fascinating with Nico Collins and the Iowa State duo added in the draft. You had Christian Kirk there as well. Mechie, those guys are still there. The backfield with Joe Mixon, he should still be a good bell cow for them. And then CJ Stroud, as much as he regressed, I thought he would impress last year given the situation around him. So, I can imagine the Texans offense being pretty good again. The pass rush is phenomenal on the edge. I still don't love the interior players that they have, but the defense should be really good in terms of rushing the passer and stopping the pass. So I think they'll be good.
Interesting offseason, as I see people in the chat saying Drake saying he loves the Texans offseason. Compare last year's offseason in Houston to this year's. Last year's, they're bringing in Stephon Diggs, they're bringing in Danielle Hunter, and you're like, all right, we found CJ Stroud. It's year 2 of Stroud. Let's go all in from a financial standpoint. And Hunter was fantastic. Diggs was playing pretty well, maybe not making as big of an impact as maybe he would have 3 or 4 years ago, but then he gets hurt. And this year, it's kind of the opposite, right? It's like, all right, we're not bringing Diggs back. We're trading Laramie Tunsil. You start to lose some of the big names, but and I would say the offensive line moves are like, all right, we've got some internal candidates, and we'll bring in a Cam Robinson, and we'll kind of stitch it together. It's just less flashy, but maybe better for the long term, especially because of those Iowa State 2 receivers that you've added to the mix there. And then it was a whole bunch of, I've been talking about their defensive line depth a lot, little additions here and there, and bringing people back and feeling good about the defensive line. And they're in really good shape defensively. They could have one of the best defenses in the NFL. So I think their offseason, certainly not as flashy as last year because they have more big names out the door than in the door, but still might be some better moves this year, maybe even than last year.
Last year's offseason felt like aggressive at the time. It was like They think that they're not just ahead of schedule with CJ Stroud, but that they could be contending and win a Super Bowl this year. So let's go get a Stephon Diggs. Let's really make this thing work. And obviously Diggs gets hurt, and we didn't sort of get to realize what impact he could have had. But generally, it didn't work as an approach. They went backwards rather than forwards. But the original reason why they were so excited is still there. CJ Stroud, I think they still definitely have their quarterback. Nico Collins is great. So yeah, they should be good.
I think I want to go over on this 9.5 here. I think Stroud bounces back. The defense has a chance to be top notch, right? You have the defensive line depth with star power with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Derek Stingley continues to get better. CJ Gardner-Johnson coming in to add some versatility and depth to the secondary. Year 2 of Kalen Bullock back there. Kamari Lassiter looked good as a rookie to complement Stingley, despite running the slow 40. There's a lot to like here. It really does come down to the offensive line. Some trust that the new system, some development from younger players, and just reshuffling, it won't be as bad as last year. Which, by the way, it's like, that whole group 2 years ago wasn't that bad from an offensive line perspective. That stuff can fluctuate a little bit. So yeah, I'd be optimistic if I'm the Texans. A lot comes down to the O-line, and you got a lot of sneezes over there. Whether or not Iowa State receivers, how big of an impact they make right away. And by the way, when Nico Collins was out there, he's looking like a top 5 wide receiver out there. Not just good, but top 5 type of impact receiver over the last couple of years, or at least he's projecting like that. So I'll take the over on the 9.5 here for Houston.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at just record, they had the same record in each of the last 2 years. It's just that we expected them to improve last year and they didn't. So it felt like they went backwards, but actually, just in terms of wins, they stayed the same. I think, you know, I kind of, so it feels weird to couch it or to frame it as a bounce back, but I feel like they will bounce back this season and sort of, you know, correct what happened a year ago and move forward this year. So yeah, over. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.